So my Loring peach tree has several peaches on it that are getting really close to being ripe. And I'm gonna go through this and pluck off all the ones that I think are ready to go, which is probably gonna be about a third of them. We've got some squirrel problems coming in. I've lost 3 peaches this morning. And as these near even closer and closer, we'll start losing them by the dozens every day. There's a lot of good ones on here. Here's a beautiful one here. It comes off the vine super easy. Basically, there's no green left. It's got a red blush and some spotting, which is normal of a Loring peach. And it's about the size of most Loring peaches, about 2.5 inches in diameter. So, and it's soft to the touch. I can bruise it pretty easily if I wanted to. Now, they're all not gonna be as good as that one. If I just pick off those, that'll be good, but then I'd have these other ones that are not quite ready. There's a little bit of green still on that one and that one, and I'm gonna leave those on for a couple more days. They're plucking off the ones that are green, so they don't know how good the good ones are. So we're close. He tested it, didn't like it, and walked away and left it out there. It'll be better for him tomorrow. He'll probably come back and finish that one off tomorrow. But anyway, I'm sure there's a cluster right there of ripe ones. So we'll keep plucking away at these and I'll show you what I got. All right, guys, you've seen a few clips. It's been a few days since the last clips were shot, and I'm trying to really push my luck on this peach tree. I lost a couple of peaches to pests. Looks like they were squirrels a few days ago. I lost 4 more yesterday. I've lost 6 today. The peaches are so close. Let me flip this camera around, and we're gonna just pick as many of the mostly ripened or just about ripe peaches as we can, and really limit the number of fines that they can get. And if they get a few more after that, then they get a few more. But let me flip the camera around and show you this peach tree. As you can see, guys, the peach tree is just still loaded with fruit. A lot of them still have green on them, but a lot of them have a lot of dark coloring on them as well. And so I'm gonna pick off all these ones that you can see on here that have pretty good dark coloring. You gotta remember, with Loring peaches, you don't want any green. You want the cream colored yellows, you want the oranges, you want the pinks, the blushes, things like that are fine. A lot of these have almost all that, just some of them still have a slight tint in some areas. Like, I'll give you an example from back here. The bottom of that one's not in direct sunlight, so it's still getting a little bit of green. I think if I take off a lot of the mostly ripe ones, the branches will kind of come up a little bit because the weight will be reduced, and maybe that will help change or alter the sun positioning on a lot of these, but they're just loaded. Like, here's a good example here of one. I mean, he got tested, but he comes off pretty easily. Mostly yellowed, there's just a light tint of green. You know what? He'll ripen on the counter in a few days. I've got this makeshift pouch here. I'm just gonna start picking them off and record some of it, but I'll show you what I get at the end. Here's a couple with a little more green than I'd like. One side in the sun is really ripe. The other side's not as much. This one on the right is probably a lot closer. Man, this one could have used another 3 or 4 days, but I'm losing them. I just was out here this morning, none were lost, and all of a sudden, boom, 4 more I pulled off, already being chewed at, and these guys are ripe. They're definitely getting the best of the best every single time. Let me see if I can grab a whole bunch more off here for you guys, and we'll be back. Whew. All right, guys, we pulled off maybe half, and there's a ton more. Let me show you the tree still. I can't show you them all because they're kind of hidden behind foliage, but let me show you the tree, and then we'll show you this monster basket of peaches we got on this 4.5, 5-year-old peach tree. Let's take a look. Look at this. They're everywhere. These are all the ones that are either really green on one side or not quite soft enough, so I didn't want to pick them. A lot more over there. Got a few on this cluster here. Quite a few more there. Loads of them up here. Even inside down here we got a couple. These are the ones behind the ladder I was talking about. They're all pretty green down here. You got to remember with peach trees, the highest peaches on the end branches will ripen first, then everything else that's high will ripen second, and as you work your way down, it ripens last. The only exception is peaches on the very ends, even on the lower branches, and ones that get the most sunlight will ripen first as well. I end up finding a few more damaged peaches here. So we've got 6 that are damaged. They weren't all damaged yesterday because I inspected the tree. But guys, look at this basket. And I know this lighting is shadowed because it's not direct sunlight, so the green looks a little more green than it really is. And honestly, I've eaten them green. They're just a little bit less sweet. They're a little bit more tart, still very flavorful, and they don't need a lot of red. The key is they don't need red to be ripe. Not lowering peaches. As long as they're blush colored, they're good. We've got some in here that are basically blush and pink. This one I pulled off because it had some damage. It's pretty green still, in my opinion. It probably won't eat well, but we'll leave it for a couple days and see what happens. I'm gonna weigh this up. Man, the aroma is awesome. It smells like peaches. But I'm gonna weigh this up and we'll see what we got in peach weight. Now, I've got some in the house that I pulled off a few days ago. I've eaten probably 8 or 10 of them, and we've lost several more. But let's get this basket weighed up. We'll even add the ones from the house that are ripe to it. Well, there it is, guys. 23 pounds of peaches so far harvested, minus the probably 10 that we've eaten. So call it 24 pounds. And we can't include the ones lost to pests, but that's how it goes. Man, it's hot, guys, but we got 23 pounds of peaches. You saw the outcome. That's only probably half, maybe half of what's on that tree and still to come. Probably this weekend coming up, I'll harvest the rest of them, see how many more we get. If not by this weekend, then pretty shortly here. Now that there's less peaches on the tree and more surface area of the unripe ones exposed to the sunlight, harvesting and maturing should happen pretty quickly. I'll tell you guys, you know what? I've tried a lot of things to keep the pests off the peach trees, and they'll keep coming. They'll keep coming. Matter of fact, there's a mockingbird out here right now looking at the peaches, but he just flew away when I came by. But I'll tell you, let me flip the camera around. These pie tins seem to work the best. And now that I'm removed a lot of the ripe fruit, they're going to take a bite out of the ones that are the closest. And I was tempted to pull the rest of them off, honestly, but here's the deal. I've got a pretty good amount of peaches now, and if they get some more, that's fine. What I don't want to have happen is pull them off and have them go to waste, because they're not quite, they'll be too tart. It'd be like eating little sweet tarts, and I don't want to do that. Some of these probably will be okay if I pull them off now. They'll mature and ripen over the next few days, but I want to leave a handful up there, and we'll pull off another batch of them here shortly. Check it out, guys, another basket. As you can see, these ones are the ones that, there's a lot of ripened ones, a little bit more green. The lighting is not good. It's not as green as this, as you'll see in the house, but a slight tint of green on some of these, I don't mind. There's still peaches all over this tree. So we'll keep working on it every day, see if we lose any and how many we get. But I'm gonna weigh this up. I would imagine it's at least another 12 pounds, but we'll check it. I'll get back to you in a minute. All right, guys, here's the other box of peaches. Like I said, we had almost 25 pounds yesterday and another 14 pounds today, plus probably a couple pounds in loss. But either way, we're right around 40 pounds, and I would suspect that I at least have another 10 pounds on the tree. So this tree in picked fruit this year is gonna produce 50 pounds of peaches, and that's not bad for less than a 5-year-old peach tree. You know, I think part of the success I had this year on this peach tree because of the pruning I did last year. I did a lot of summer pruning last year, and then I left it alone. Didn't do a winter pruning at all. That's why I got a little out of control. But I really think the summer pruning helped get a lot of growth spurs, a lot of fruiting spurs, and that's why we got on a 4.5, almost 5-year-old peach tree, why we got such a pretty good harvest. If you were to add in all the peaches I've lost, man, we would have got a bigger one. Final thing I want to say is I know my peaches were a little small, and I planned it that way. I didn't thin the clusters in the spring after they set fruits because I knew I'd have some lost to the pests, and I figured I'd rather have 2 or 3 times as many at half the size just for sheer quantity to kind of mitigate my losses. Anyway, everyone, just wanted to give you a harvest of my Loring peach tree. You can still see all those peaches on it back there. Hopefully you enjoyed this video with me. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And as always, everyone, thanks for watching. The good thing about all these peaches is I get to make one of my favorite fruit smoothies with yogurt, orange juice, and peaches.